Hey everybody, welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, brought to you by Nashville Christian Songwriters. Nashville Christian Songwriters exists to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. I'm John Chisum, and this podcast exists to bring you valuable songwriting insights, inspiration, interviews, and just all around good fun with some of the greatest songwriters, producers, arrangers, artists, and creatives, and beyond. You can find out a whole lot more about us at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Hey everybody, John Chisum here. Welcome to the Song Revolution podcast. I want to start off this week with a question. How many of you out there listening know a worship leader who has ever been in a punk rock band? Well, maybe a few of you, right? Maybe you were in a punk rock band and you had spiky pink hair with purple streaks and nose rings and studs and all kinds of crazy stuff and black lipstick. So maybe that's not all that unusual. But let me ask you another question. How many worship leaders do you know who've acted in 6 films with Bruce Willis and has been on camera with people like Robert De Niro, John Cusack, and The Rock? The number slims down a little bit, right? Let me ask you a third question. How many worship leaders do you know who've actually had songs in movies and on television, a lot of them, and have been heard on MTV, VH1, NBC, ABC, The CW, and in so many movies and TV shows and radio that we've just kind of lost count? All right, the questions are not done. How about this one? How many worship leaders do you know who've actually shared the stage with people like Blink-182, Jason Mraz, Switchfoot, Smash Mouth, POD, One Republic, and a whole lot more? Okay, well, I didn't think that you did, and neither did I until the other day when I met this wonderful guy named Jesse Pruett. Jesse and I sat down and we had the greatest conversation about who he is and what he's doing and about his deep-rooted faith that keeps him in the local church as a worship pastor, even while he's enjoying tremendous success as an up-and-coming actor in film and television. He's also a film and television writer and film scoring maniac. The guy's scored 2 films already and writes songs for all kinds of film and television. The list is just too long to read here. But the neat thing about Jesse is that he also currently serves as worship arts pastor at a church, First Baptist Church in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. It's just crazy. I mean, this guy is a monster. I love him already. He's a great new friend. And I think you're going to enjoy this unique blend of worship pastor, film and television songwriter, film scoring crazy man, veteran of over 20 feature films with some of the greatest actors of our time. And oh yeah, he just happens to have a brand new song in the new animated feature called Pinocchio. So you guys, set aside your envy and just please sit back and enjoy with me our great new friend, Jesse Pruett. All right, Jesse Pruett, thanks, man, for being here on the Song Revolution podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be on and be a part of what you guys are doing and just to hear so many great things.
Thanks, buddy. It's so cool. You know, I love to study my guests, and you're someone that I've not been familiar with, even though I've seen you on screen and I've heard your songs, and you're just crazy successful. So first of all, just congratulations on all that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Again, man, I'm just grateful to get to do all these different things in the creative side, you know, and just be able to bring God into everything that I do and get to be a part of all that.
So you're like 19 years old, you look like, and you're an actor and a worship leader and this crazy successful film and TV songwriter. And like, man, give us like the quick overview. I know people heard in my intro, you know, a lot of the things you've accomplished, but how did this happen, dude? I mean, you're like a quadruple threat or something. You're just crushing it out there.
Yeah, just a lot of hard work, man. It wasn't always easy. I remember when I first started playing music, it was actually in church, in youth group. And then after high school, me and some friends started a band, and we toured and got signed and put out a record. We recorded our first album at West Beach Studios in Hollywood, and just started playing out. But, at first we're sleeping on floors and, doing that whole deal. And then, it just kind of went from there. And then I started this band, Parker Theory, that I did for quite a while, putting out a lot of records. And same thing, man, doors just kind of started opening, and I was able to license the album in different countries, and we were able to tour in different areas, and it's really great bands. And then I learned about the licensing world. And so that was a really slow process, but the doors just kind of started opening there, and a lot of different companies wanted to use my music for, film and television and online and different things like that. So started learning about that world. And then Lionsgate kind of came about, just this relationship that began, and started licensing music for their stuff. And then I randomly did a film somewhere, and then it kind of just went from there. Lionsgate, the doors kind of opened there for me to start doing speaking roles. And then, man, just went from there. So it's been an incredible journey. It's been a long journey, but in a short span, a lot of hard work, and me learning different things along the way, and learning how to have boundaries and how to bring God into everything that I'm doing. And so, it was a time thing to learn how to do that, but it's been a great process. And I'm so grateful that I get to do all these different things, because I love creative, and I love, seeing creatives part of worship, part of the church, and what's happening in that realm right now.
Mm. That's great. Well, you just kind of glossed over these amazing things that you're doing. We don't have time to pick them all apart, but you've appeared in films, more than 20 films, with people like De Niro, The Rock, Stallone, Cusack, Bruce Willis, for crying out loud. What is all that like?
Yeah, that is nervous and really exciting. The first time on set, I get used to the music world. You go on stage and it's totally fine for me personally. And then, worship's a different thing. But I'm just saying concerts and playing out. And then you walk on set and it's like, man, with those kind of names, that is a serious thing. So you're like, I need to really be prepared for this, because there's like 100 people around, and these actors, you don't want to blow it, but it really built a different side of confidence in me. And then also just being prepared and being ready and being open. And so, yeah, that's been a great experience, and I'm still learning, and it's been awesome now.
How do you prepare for that? Do you have acting coaches? And
I don't. I live in Lake Havasu City, and we don't really have that here. So, I'll watch videos, and I've had to play cops and detectives, and I have friends that are those here. So I've gone on ride-alongs and different things like that. So if I can, I'll jump into scenarios like that to kind of help me to see how they do things. And then, then you get, the memorizing lines and all that stuff. Just I'll prepare on the plane and before, and then I'm praying right before. Lord help me.
Yeah, you are.
Blow it.
So you have an agent that places you in these things?
Actually, I don't right now. Not in the movie world. So I've been still doing that all on my own. And because, to be honest, man, I didn't think it would extend to that. I thought, I'll do a few films, and what a great experience. And then they kept coming, and I was like, well, I'll wait for a while, and when it's time, I'll get the agent and all that stuff. And I just haven't moved forward with that yet. So it's pretty crazy flying out to do all that stuff, and it's not a typical thing.
Yeah.
And stuff, but yeah,
but you get to keep the fees.
I do. I get to keep all the and I'm getting to learn that side, of the contracts and all that stuff.
Right.
And that stuff's interesting to me because I had to learn all that on the licensing world. I had a little bit of help getting lawyers and stuff in the beginning, but yeah.
Wow. What's been your biggest role so far?
Biggest role is probably on The Prince. That was the one with Bruce Willis. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. I got to shoot guns and do all this other stuff with Jason Patrick. He was a really cool guy. So that was probably the biggest role I've done so far.
Oh, that's cool. Now I'm going to go back and watch it with new eyes. It's like now that we're acquainted, it's like, there's Jesse. That's so cool. That's great. But along with this, you have had dozens and dozens of songs in film now, television shows. I mean, crazy. We could read the whole list, but it's just amazing, what you've done. And you're still very active in that. You've scored a couple of films. Give us a little taste of that, man. How, is it really in all who you know? Is that how you got into this to begin with? I mean, I'm a firm believer you got to have the goods no matter who you know most of the time, and obviously you do. So how did that start and kind of how are you keeping?
Yeah. So part of it was just getting the name out there, and I was playing out a ton, and several things were just happening. So that's a piece of it. People would hear the name or hear these songs. And then the other part is relationship. And you know how much that helps things move forward quicker, and so I just started building relationships, and that really helped the foundation of getting a lot of these different things, because we've already used something. Hey, can we use something again? And or other companies would go, this guy's music is in all these different things, and then they'd call me up and go, hey, we want to use something as well. But to me, man, relationship is huge. You start building that, and sometimes that takes years, and I have a few of those core people that over years I would just go and hang and grab lunch and how's life and what's going on with you. And that, that goes far. You're not just another person trying to get your song, we all want to do that. But for me, it's past that. It's like, I want relationships, I value that. So I think that's really helped me. And, it's been cool that these songs have been able to use in different ways, for film or television, animation. Animation's kind of been the new thing it's been used a lot for, which I love because my kids, family films and stuff like that. Oh, that's cool, Dad. We're hearing Dad's song.
Daddy's song.
Yeah. Even the last few worship records I did, they've picked up songs from that, and I totally would not have thought that stuff would be in these family films. So that's been huge blessing. And then on the scoring, I love that, man. That was so fun. And the two films that we did, they were really cool about, hey, do whatever style, these are kind of indie feature films. So, we can really play into your strengths. And so I brought in my friend TJ Hill. He was in this band Future Forestry, and man, we just went in a house for like 2 weeks straight, every day, all night, and wrote the whole score and soundtrack. And we got done. I was like, how did we just do that in 2 weeks? But it was a great experience. And then the second one was with my buddy Greg Camp. He's a guitarist and songwriter for Smash Mouth. And I brought him and the keyboard player in. I was like, hey, guys, you want to do this score with me and just have fun and try something different? So another great experience. And I really love that because you're connecting this music to what's happening in the film. And
So you're like watching the film and you're sitting there second by second, imagining what the soundtrack should be to underscore what's going on.
Yeah. And both films, I kind of had like some ideas that we, kind of brought out before it was finished. And then I'd go on set and, one of them, both of them I was actually in. So I kind of got to see that side too on the acting a little bit, what they're trying to do and how they're trying to portray it. And then that helped going back into the film. Okay, okay, now we're watching it and seeing, and I understand what the director's trying to go for. But yeah, usually you're just sitting there watching it and, just going scene by scene.
Wow. That'd be fun. I think it would call upon a different discipline, than just trying to write a worship song, for instance, or, express something out of your heart when you're trying to, portray in music the emotion, even without words, emotional music, right? Did you have to do a lot of that?
Yeah, we did some of that as well. And so we had some, piano and strings and different things as well. These ones didn't need a ton of that, but they definitely had moments, in the relationships or different things where you just needed that heartfelt, feeling.
Yeah. So when you're writing for film and television, are you writing more on spec? Like you just come up with something you think is cool and then throw it at them? Or do you get assignments where they're like, okay, we've got this scene now where they're kissing and we want a song that talks about that kiss? Or is it a combination of those?
Yeah, it's a combination. And because I've recorded a lot of songs over the years. So a lot of times they'll hit me up. Like if we have a relationship, they'll go, hey, Jess, can you watch this scene and see if you have something that fits? And I know my song, so it's easy for me to go, oh yeah, I think this would really fit. And I'll send them 2 or 3 ideas and they'll pick one from there. And that's happened a lot too. And then sometimes it's just like, hey, can you write, there's a family film right now that they're like, hey, we really want you to write something for this film. So it's like the feature song, and here's what we're trying to go for. And then I'll send them some ideas that I already have and go, hey, does any of these feel like the area we're trying to go? So I know what to kind of work off of. And they'll go, yeah, we like this style. So that'll help me as well.
That's cool, man. A lot of people I know here in Nashville are really targeting sync, licensing and really trying to do it. And I had somebody contact me recently out of the Northeast, and they just happened to meet somebody who's involved in a film. I don't remember if it was a director. I'm not sure who it was, but they just wanted to write a bunch of things on spec and send it. And I'm like, I don't have time to sit around and just write on spec, unless you've got a solid relationship with somebody. And this was just somebody he happened to meet. And I'm like, okay, well, it was really hard for me to get up for doing it. And then I'm like, dang it, should I have just done it anyway and thrown something? I felt like I was just kind of throwing stuff in the wind, without the relationship that was there. So I think it's important. People often say, well, it's all in who you know, but I think that there is some strong truth to that, working from relationship.
Well, you start to get to know each other. You start to understand each other. You have that trust, and so that really comes into play. I think also if you've worked together on one thing and then you keep building that relationship, they're going to want to bring you back into something again, and then it just keeps going from there. And you understand each other, and that doesn't always work out that way, but it's great when it does. And then the other things, there's times, because my friends will say that too, like, man, should I spend the time to do this? One of my buddies was just talking to me about this. Hey, there's this animated online show, and they want me to write a song every single, episode. And it's like 20 songs. That's a lot of work, to put into it. And I'm like, well, you know what? It's going to grow you as a writer, because you got to write these things and take the time. If you can do it and you have the time, I encourage it, and then, I always say, hey, if you can keep your rights to your songs, even if you have to take a little bit less money, and then, try to get the money that you need to spend that time if you're able to, so you're taken care of. But it depends on the situation. But a lot of times that stuff grows you and helps you, especially if it's outside of your box.
Hey, we're going to take just a quick break from the show so that we can let you in on some amazing things happening around here at Nashville Christian Songwriters.
Are you a Christian songwriter wishing you could be heard by the right people in Nashville? Yeah, we get it. You've been writing for years, but you have no idea how to be heard, how to get your songs out there, or how to connect your talent with opportunities. You feel stuck and wonder if you'll ever get a real break. NCS Bootcamp is your chance to be heard by taking your songwriting to a level you've only dreamed of. It gives you hands-on, personalized coaching and mentoring to help you think and write like a professional Christian songwriter determined to impact the world with your songs. If you're ready to empower your songwriting dreams, go to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com/bootcamp to book your free songwriting breakthrough strategy call today. Become the songwriter you were born to be with NCS Bootcamp.
Well, I just hope that you'll take advantage of that and check it out. All right? We bring you good stuff here on the Song Revolution podcast. So back to our episode. Well, if anybody was asking me to write, for a project like that, heck yeah, I'm in, I'm going to be there, right? And suit up, show up, do my best. But just the whole spec thing when you're...
Yeah, spec's a lot different.
Yeah, when you're way outside of it, and you don't have those built-in relationships. So you can pray for the rest of us who want to do sync.
Yeah.
That's great. So you're in an unusual place in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And so how's that working out for you? Tell us a little bit about your ministry, because you're so ministry-minded as a worship leader, worship pastor. Specifically, how do you stay plugged in at the local level and then pursue all these crazy global things that you do, man?
Yeah.
Clone yourself? Is there more than one of you around, or?
Yeah, so I living in Lake Havasu City, I'm from San Diego, California, and I love San Diego, and it's a great place to grow up. And my family moved to Lake Havasu City, so I went to high school here. Then we all moved back to San Diego, and that's when I was doing Parker Theory and all that stuff. And I was doing the score for that first film and soundtrack with my buddy TJ, and I was here, and some church reached out to me and through a friend, and me and my wife's actually from Lake Havasu, so she grew up here, and we're both like, we are never moving to Lake Havasu City. That just was not on the table. And they're like, hey, would you be willing to travel and help us for a few months interim, because we hired this person and they're not able to come out? And I did. And after a few months, I told Valerie, I was like, I feel like we're supposed to move here. I just feel like God is telling us to move here. And she's like, I feel that too. Let's go. And I'm like, what? Okay, Lord, this is a confirmation. So we moved here. They ended up hiring me as their associate worship leader, because they had a worship pastor, co-pastor at the time. And, when I came on, they knew how much creative stuff I did. So I said, that is a really big part of who I am and what I do. Are you guys okay with me still doing that? And they're like, yeah, we are. We'll give you the time for that. And so that has been amazing that they've allowed that. Then he left about a year later, and I stayed and became their worship pastor. And I've been there over 6 years now. And just it's been incredible being part of a family. And so for me, that's been super important, because I have that accountability. I have that love. I have those people praying with me. I have that family. I get to come, home and then lead worship and be with everybody. And then during the week and build those relationships. And then when I go out and do stuff, I've got that. I'm carrying that with me, And so that actually has helped me a lot. And I love that aspect. It's not always easy, because it's, you're taking on a lot of different hats, but my heart is in ministry now. So it is interesting, because I thought, oh, we'll move here and I probably won't do film anymore, probably won't license, probably won't record. I still hope for that. But now those doors even opened more when we moved here. And I was like, wow, okay, Lord, I'm just fully going to trust you, and you can shut the doors you want to shut, open the ones you want to open, because I just want to follow his way and his path. And so my heart right now, man, is really in worship and ministry and just leading people to Jesus. So when I go to do the films and things like that, I'm already preparing my heart for, Lord, who you want me to pray with and who can I speak to. And, there's a guy who worked on Titanic and all these other films, and we've worked a lot together. He's more like the first AD and stuff. And he's like, dude, every time you come on set, you just bring the light. And I'm like, oh, Lord, help me to always do that, And I'm not saying I don't have struggles or this or that, but I'm really trying to prepare my heart, and just listen to God and listen to the Holy Spirit. And so, but I love ministry, man. I love what that brings, and leading worship and just drawing people to Jesus.
That's fantastic. So do you have a new record out?
Yep.
Right. On top of, a wonderful new song, Beautiful in Pinocchio. You got that's out, which is great. Congratulations. But you also have your new record out called The Journey. And I've been reviewing it. Love it. Great stuff. Did you produce that?
Me and another friend did.
Okay. Great job, man. Congratulations. So for those who've not heard your music and tying in with your ministry, your worship leading and your heart, tell us a little bit about your new record.
Yeah. One of my good friends, Joseph Pfeiffer, he actually moved out here recently with his family. I hired him as another worship pastor for our church. We'd been friends for years, and he co-wrote some of the songs on Relentless Love, my previous album. And so I asked him to be a part of this one. So I was going to Santa Barbara, where he was leading at a church, and he'd come here, and we were kind of just writing back and forth. And some of it was just on my own at home. And those songs are really, for this record, I was like, man, I just want to write about what's going on right now, not only in my life, but people who are close to me in my realm of what they're going through. And I want to bring that hope and that love and that redemption, and just I want them to know that, hey man, Jesus loves them and he's here. And then also the other side of like, Lord, we just want to praise you through everything, whatever we're going through, whatever struggles, whatever trials. Lord, we're going to praise you through that, and that's how we're going to get through it. So just stuff like that. And some of the songs are just, like Can't Stop Singing. It's just about praising God and thankful that, we're in his family, and he brought us out of the pits of our own destruction and things like that. I'm so grateful to God for that, for my own life. So, So Journey is just really about, where I'm at right now in my life. And I really wanted this record to be organic, I guess, if you want to use that word. So, just real instruments and not a lot of stuff on the drums and things like that. We really just, for this record. So it's kind of got a little bit, it's not like the newest sound, but I wanted it to be like that. It was just so fun making and just getting to keep on being creative. So.
That's cool. Well, I was missing that one reverb sound that I prefer on the snare. I mean, I have to say, great record. You should have put a little more time, and I'm just totally yanking you. You know that. Great record. So many great things. And, hearing you say what you just said, it's like, okay, that makes sense, because it felt more organic and natural. It didn't feel overproduced. It was like, it was approachable, I guess is a good word. So, and now that I've met you here in this interview, you're such an approachable guy and such a heart for the Lord. What are some of the deeper spiritual motivations for you? Like when like I'm a pastor teacher, what I do through Nashville Christian Songwriters, this podcast, everything that we do is out of that Ephesians 4 pastor teacher thing. I can't help it. I'll be on like potential client calls, Jesse, and I'll like suddenly realize that the person on the other end of the call is like crying because I would have like, we've gotten into some deep, I'm almost counseling, right? And then they're like, I didn't know I was going to cry. And I'm like, does that mean you're not going to sign up? So what's the motivation for you, when you're dealing with I mean, you worship and you're a worship leader, but what motivates you, dude?
Honestly, man, the kingdom motivates me more than anything. My family's so important to me. And so it really starts with my wife and kids, and just us coming together to just constantly, praying, being in the word and seeking God, because it's so easy in the world that we live in to get focused on all the other stuff. And, that's one of my things. I have to be careful, because it's easy to go, yeah, man, I want to jump in this and that. And it's like, whoa, I need to slow down and listen to God. And then there's another side of, being a worship leader. I want to invest in other people. And I have told you this earlier, relationships are huge to me.
Yeah, of course.
I value that a ton.
Yeah.
And so I want to help other people grow in that, grow in the Lord, grow in their ministry, or grow in whatever their strengths are and their gifts, So for me, where I'm at right now is I'm just kingdom focused. So big picture things like, yeah, okay, we've got this going on in our life, or maybe there's a struggle or this or that, but we're going to get through that because we have God. And I really just, man, I'm trying to learn more. I'm trying to soak in more from everybody I can. And Joseph, my other worship pastor, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's so awesome, dude. I love praying together, and we do these great devotions with our team and during the week and on the weekends. And my lead pastor, Chad, is so awesome. He's an investor in people too. So he's just been pouring into me for years. And that for me now, I can pour it out into others and to, everything I do. So yeah, that's my heart right now, man. Just, really for the church going, hey, what's next? And how can we draw the young generation and beyond to Christ? And what's that look like musically? And what's that look like day to day worship, And I really feel like that's a big thing right now, just constantly teaching them that, yeah, church is awesome, and we come together and we get to worship and we get to learn and have fellowship. But there's another part of it. There's the everyday. And so teaching them that, like, hey, what's your day-to-day look like? Worship with God, and are you getting in the word and things like that? And that's for all of us, right? So that's really my heart right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, the relationship thing is massive, and I can see that in your life. Let's go back to the songwriting thing for just a few more minutes. I mean, obviously you've had massive success with that. Are there things that you go back to time and again in your process? Is it a killer hook that you write from? Like I call that in my training, a North Star kind of hook that guides you, through the process? Or is it more music for you, or a combination, or what's your process like?
Yeah, it's been different over the years. That I would say for the most part, my process, I'm sitting down on my guitar and I start singing, and the melody comes out in a few words. And then I'll grab paper and pen and start writing, and then kind of slowly go from there. There's been other times where I wrote lyrics first, and then I'll just start playing guitar and humming melodies, and then kind of going from there. Like with worship kind of changes things. That's for me, it's a lot harder to write, because you're not just going, oh, I'm going to write whatever comes out and it's so free. Worship's like, you want it to be great, and you want it to have meaning, and you want it to be biblical, and all these things. So that, we're really already starting with, all right, what lines and what are we going to say? And sometimes you still come with the melody first, and we're like, okay, what can we say here? But usually that's how it comes from, the melody. So, and sitting down on the instrument.
It's cool. It's just different for everybody.
Yeah. And some songs, man, they'll come out in like 15 minutes, and then another one I'll work on for like 4 weeks. You're like, man, that took a while, but hey, I got through it and it's actually finished. How many unfinished songs do we have? So I really try to hone in on the ones that I'm like, man, there is something good here. There's a piece. I got to finish that, and see what it becomes.
Yeah.
And then there's all those ones that you didn't finish that you're like, it's hard to make time for that. But, it's hard, but you gotta make the time, because you won't ever get through it if you don't. Just like anything else, you gotta practice and you gotta keep doing it. And I've written songs over and over and over for years and years and years, since I was a kid. Man, I look back at my first songs, I was like, oh, that was not so good. So it was a lot of practice, and just learning what your skills are and your strengths are, because I don't have every strength. I know my vocal limit. I know my writing limit. I know my musical limit, So I've learned that over the years, like, hey, I got some strength here, not as much in this area, but some more in here. So I try to, just be who I am and use the strengths I was given.
That's fantastic. What are your strengths?
I think my strengths are writing. I don't feel like I have the best vocal out there. I think I have, a good vocal, and I love singing live. I love recording. I love both, because they're both cool in different ways, But I don't know. I just love. There's something so passionate I love about writing. So,
when you say more melody driven or lyric or both? Because I'm a lyricist. I do some music, but I'm just almost 90% lyric.
I'm both. I love melody, though. I would say my strength's probably melody more than anything, just because I've had other people tell me that over the years, but I don't know. It's hard when it's yourself,
Yeah.
But melody comes very easy and naturally for me. I'll just put it that way. I can sit down and come up with a bunch of melodies immediately.
Right. So co-writing with a lyricist is an important piece for you.
Yeah, and I actually didn't always do that. I didn't do that until the worship records. So some of the Parker Theory songs, there was a few, but most of that was just me writing myself. But then I learned, like, hey, it's okay to open up, and it's actually, you bring in other strengths and people's strengths. So now I'm like, yeah, let's go co-write. Let's do that. Because I just love that piece that, now you're both bringing in different strengths and stuff. And you have to figure out how to work together, But,
I was just at a co-writing retreat with 40 people about 2 weeks ago. And you literally draw names out of a hat 2 times a day. And you're sometimes you're writing with people, but a lot of times you're just meeting these people for the first time. And 2 hours later, every session we walked out with a complete song, a great song. And there's this dynamic, like, okay, who's going to lead? Who's going to make the decisions? Who's going to sit there like a bump on a log and hold that, right? You have all these decisions that you have to make in co-writing. But I learned a long time ago that I can write okay music in certain genres, but we can do lyrics all day long, because I love the word part, the lyric crafting is just, that just makes me happy. So so did you come by your music naturally from your family?
My mom was a singer, so I'd watch her singing growing up. She never did it as a career or anything like that. She'd go out and sing in the church and other places. And then her father was in a band, a singer in a band. And that, I think musically, that's about it. So me and my brother did a mock rock at church, youth group. And then we're like, we want instruments, to asking our parents after. And they bought me this guitar from a pawn shop and got him a keyboard. And it just kind of went from there. And I didn't take it too serious for like the first year, I was like, oh, this is fun. But then it just kicked in. It was like, oh, I love this, and became passionate. And I never had lessons for anything. Wish I would have, for vocals and instruments and stuff. So we just had to really learn on our own. And so that was a process too. Like, hey, do you know any chords I can learn from you? Or, things like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you come from a pretty large family, I think I read in your stuff.
Yeah. So in my immediate family, it's just me and my brother. But on my dad's side, there's 17 kids. And on my mom's side, there's 7. So we had huge family functions and get together. you know, when everybody gets together, we got our own baseball teams and basketball teams, and all that stuff. I think one of the first Parker Theory concerts I played, it was packed out. They're like, "Who are you again?" Like, "Oh, this is mostly my family."
Sell out just with your relatives. That's great, dude. Well, I know they've got to be really proud of you, and just, you know, congratulations on so much success, and but even more for being kingdom minded, loving Jesus, leading other people in such a great, humble way there. And of course, we just want to wish you the best, pray for the best for you, and thank you for being here for just a little while. Do you have any closing kind of, I don't believe in tips, tricks, and hacks. I think anybody that wants that, I think they're missing out on the discipline of art. But if there's one thing you could share, you know, with our audience of a lot of aspiring songwriters, what might that be?
I'd say write from your heart. I think it really starts from there, because we all have a story that we can tell. And so I would say just take the time to really hone in on who you are and what you're trying to share and what's your story. What do you want to share with somebody? Because I think that's what really grabs someone's heart. When we share ours and they can feel that in a song, that's when you're doing something great, because it goes beyond just our home or what we're trying to do. You know, you're able to help somebody through a moment. You're able to encourage. You're able to bring laughter. You're able to bring tears, whatever it is for them. So really think about that, I would say, when you're writing. And then also just keep doing it a lot, because you don't know what's going to come out. And build relationships. You know, take time to meet and know people, not to just desire to get something out of it or from them, because that's when you'll truly be able to have fulfillment, you know, because you're getting to invest in someone else and getting to know them. So that would be my encouragement. And just keep doing great, man. Keep your heart focused on the right things and on God, and just be blessed by it and enjoy it.
Great stuff. Jesse Pruett, thanks for being with us today on the Song Revolution podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, what a fantastic show today. I hope you caught all the value bombs that were dropped on this one, and that you'll begin to immediately incorporate them into your songwriting. You know, you can get even more valuable songwriting tools and inspiration when you join NCS membership. You can become a part of a growing community of songwriters from around the world and tap into some of the most powerful resources available to step you up in your songwriting destiny. Check out NCS membership now at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com and get ready for some exponential power to help you fulfill your call to write. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.